Okay, we will turn our attentions eastward now, where there were problems, and that was partly caused by the power vacuum that had been created after the Treaty of Versailles, with small states being created like Czechoslovakia and Poland. They were in agreements, little entente, with France, because France relied upon them to encircle Germany. However, they wouldn't have been very useful allies had anything happened, as you will see when we get into the 30s. But it hadn't been easy to delineate the borders of these countries, and they kind of just grabbed what they could in certain areas. For example, Czechoslovakia grabbed the industrial area of Teschen when the Poles wanted it, and the Poles eventually got it back in the 1930s. The other thing was that the Russians were communist and had been ever since 1917. Which scared the heebie-jeebies out of Britain, and especially the right wing in Britain, the Conservative Party. So Lloyd George, who was more of a liberal, wanted to bring them back into the situation, into the international community. He actually sent troops to fight the communists in the Civil War to help the whites beat the Reds, but that had failed, and then he realised that it would be better to get Russia back into international community rather than having a fight with them. Russia, for themselves, became a little bit more open to dealing with other countries after 1922, 21-22, and although Comintern were always asking for a world revolution, and that's what the communists that's what the Conservatives in Britain were pointing to. So it largely depended on which party was in power as to how much the British government dealt with Russia, and the Labour ministers obviously would be more sympathetic than the Conservative. It actually brought the Labour government down. Ramsay MacDonald's government were discredited because of their supposed their dealings with communists, and that scared the Liberals, who they relied upon for a majority, and the Liberals left, and the Conservatives managed to tar the Labour Party, MacDonald's Labour government, into losing the next election. There was also the Zinoviev letter, written by one of the top communist ministers in Russia, that was supposedly causing for communist action in Britain, and that was a fake. It's now been proved to be a fake. It wasn't known at the time, but I think the damage had already been done, and Labour had already been discredited by the Conservatives and would have lost the election anyway.